Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reacts, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Relentless Pursuit, titled He Is Coming, and if we switch over to here, it is the visualizer for this track here. Apparently this has been released, as I understand it, on Bandcamp and YouTube. It's gonna be like released everywhere else on November the 1st. It's off of the upcoming EP called The Aftermath, which apparently is gonna be released on January 1st of 2026, because we're almost there at this point. We're going to listen through this track from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. We're also going to be giving the song an overall score of 10 out of the end based on various musical criteria, but for now, let's go. It's an interesting groove there established by the guitars and then the drums. We've come a long way. The vocals are a little bit quiet though. Eerie kind of guitar lead there, right? Hell of a groove on the rhythm section though.
The coming of the Lord is nigh.
Some use of rides there, man.
Upon this world.
I think the percussion is going to be a highlight of this feedback that I'm going to give, but it's also dependent on the context and what it means in terms of the rest of the track. But we're going to talk about it more in the conclusion. And so welcome to the conclusion, my review of the song from an act named Relentless Pursuit, titled He Is Coming. Now, I gave the song an overall score of 7.4 out of 10, which I feel is a reasonable score. There was some stuff I did appreciate about this, which we'll talk about in a moment. But first of all, what do we think this song is about? I think that this song is about the coming of the Lord, and it sounds heavy as hell, almost like you need to be conscious of it. You need to be keeping an eye out and an ear out. You need to be careful about treading those waters. You know what I mean? That's the kind of interpretation I had of this piece. The menace, the intensity, the heaviness of it, coupled with the messages, is poignant, but it's also impactful. In terms of things I appreciated, even though I didn't necessarily get all the words through clearly, I think that the vocal style was a smart choice here. There was like a spoken part, which reminded me of some sort of like hardcore songs I've heard from bands like Amira and stuff like that, but like a lot more classy. But a lot of the growls, just the texture intensity of them were good. They were a little bit quiet in the mix at some points. Maybe that's just simply because they had a lot of stuff resonating in that part of the frequency spectrum, but that's not a complaint about the mixing. It can be a bit noisy, it can be a bit gritty. That's fine. It's part of what makes the music special. If it's too sterile, it loses a bit of its hit. So I think that the way we expressed ourselves makes sense for the subject matter. If we're wanting to infer a sense of danger or intensity to that, I don't think we needed a lot of melody because there's lots of other things going on with the different bass lines, the guitars, the pads and everything like that, lead and rhythm guitars especially, and the drums are incredibly busy as well. So I feel like the vocals did what they needed to without overstirring the pot. I think another thing I do appreciate is the work on the drums here. I think this song is well balanced in terms of its, because there's a lot of different grooves, eighths, quarters, triplets, and sixteenths, as well as a whole bunch of different meter changes and slowdowns and speed ups, accelerandos and decelerandos. There's dynamic range to it. There's an exploration of the kit in general. I appreciate the fact that we even use some sort of ride bells occasionally. It wasn't just the toms and the double kicks, which almost sound like machine gun kicks. You had like the snares and cymbals. You were just using different parts of the cymbals for different sounds and different purposes, but we also had moments of space as well. It was just a really tight performance on the kit. I think that you need that in this kind of music. If your rhythm section isn't sorted, especially in those kind of like more chunkier, groovy section with the palm muting on the guitars and stuff like that, you need to be able to have a mixture of different ideas, especially if this is kind of like a journey track where we're going on an adventure from like A to B or to Z or something. I'm just listening back to certain parts and you can hear all these really interesting fills that are going on, lots of other kind of cool ideas. They really put the time and effort into making it special. And like, I think that there is enough sort of like variety. Also, I'm going to talk about the structure of it. I think the production is solid. I like some of the work on the vocal systems, EQing, filtering, and reverb parts, as well as the lifts, spacing things around the stereo field and frequency spectrum. Like we had the guitar to one side at the start, which was kind of like it'd be that side for you, but it's the right side for my headphones because of mirror image. But we just had a really interesting situation going on. It's like structurally, we just had all these different guitar riffs and grooves, and we never stayed on one idea for too long. Like you can click in different parts of the track, as I heard, and you can hear a different drum beat or like a different chord progression. You do different like combinations of layers of instruments as well there. And I think that it's kind of poignant in some parts where you have like the choir pads and everything like that, almost like harkening the introduction or the reintroduction there, to have the kind of like steely, gritty lead guitars and top kind of like whistling away in the ether, to have the kind of palm muted guitars in the low end there, occasionally the bass line moving around the scales and modes. And then there's just some parts it's just bass and drums, and you just feel the rumble of that at low end, and it's just really satisfying. So I think it's an interesting end to it as well, because you kind of had like the pads and the drums kind of play out with a kind of varying like speed drum beat. I don't know how else to interpret that. It wasn't maybe even, it was a tempo, at tempo should I say, but it was kind of like it sped up and slow. Like it's very organic. It's just clever sort of like choices there to kind of like mess with expectations a little bit. But ultimately I think it was the vocals, it was the percussion in particular that I was really impressed with, as well as the structuring, but there's also highlights with the production elements. Ultimately I feel like this is a promising impression of their upcoming EP. If you enjoyed it, please do keep an eye out for that on January the 1st, the Aftermath. But thank you very much for watching my review of this track from my next name, Relentless Pursuit, titled He Is Coming, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via the various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.